Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to Grizz 901, your number one post-game show, and it's not even close. Tonight, we're celebrating back-to-back wins. We don't know how this feels. We don't know what to do with our hands. It's weird, but we'll figure it out. Tonight, we had a late kind of cancellation. So, unfortunately for you all, we don't have Nate. But fortunately for you all, we do have Paris Sharkey here, so he will join me very shortly. But tonight, the Grizzlies win 111-101. Another great game out of Goon, the shooter's number one man, and that is Jaren Jackson Jr. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk with Paris about a little bit of the team and how they played, and kind of recap the game just overall. But then in the second segment, we're going to ask a little bit of the Grizz trivia, as we always do. But we're going to get into a little bit more about the Marc Gasol doc, but also I want to kind of just discuss some other things that might be surrounding the Grizzlies. We want to pick some brain a little bit while we're around here. We don't want to let these guys come in here and not share their actual thoughts. So without that being said, let's go ahead and get to the show. What's this? Paris gets here, and all of a sudden, like everything just goes awry. I don't know. What's up, Paris? How are you?
That's good, man. Doing well. How about you, Grizz?
Man, I can't complain. Is it on loop too? Like, did I just lose everything tonight? God. My bad. But yeah, Paris Sharkey is here. We're ready to get going. I'm not going to go ahead and level that out. Paris, off the top rope, man. What's your thoughts about the game? They're going to get into you a little bit later.
Yeah, we owned the Milwaukee Bucks. Right. Hey, we owned them. We swept them with 2-0. So, hey, great win.
4-0 on the season.
4-0
we have a five-game winning streak against the Bucks. Crazy.
Wow. But yeah, Jaren Jackson, back-to-back. He had 40 points against Detroit Monday. I think he had 30. I don't remember what he ended up with. I know it's past 30 tonight. Brandon Clark will get 35. Yep. Also, what, this 75 points combined last two games. Yep. And Brandon Clark back, third straight game, double-digit points. Yep. Gave some really good minutes. GG Jackson with a clutch basket down the stretch. Just great team win, 2-game winning streak. Yeah, appreciate that. It's a nice shirt. Yep. So, yeah, really good performance. I'm glad to see it. Milwaukee looking, they looking very flawed. I don't know where I'm looking for. Very flowish, yeah. Looking very flawed out there. So, of course, they're missing Dame Lillard, but hey, you see our injury report. We in.
Listen, if Jaren can win with what's surrounding him, then Giannis can win what's surrounding him. I don't listen. Anybody can say what they want, but it doesn't matter. The number one thing is we can say this is a DG victory show. This doesn't happen. Nate's not here. That's the reason. Nate's not here. So screw you, Nate. Nobody likes you. Everybody likes me. And honestly, you're the worst part of the show. All right, we got that out of the way. All right. But Parrish, a little bit about you. Let's get into you for a second, because I know you've been on Anthony Sain's show just kind of as a regular. I don't know if you're a guest anymore, if you're a part of the show anymore. We don't know what you are. So anyway, you're live with Sain some days not. So give the people a little bit, because Sain goes live, the Anthony Sain show live every Wednesday and Friday at noon. So what's your part into the Anthony Sain show?
Yeah, so basically, I guess you say a recurring guest, or really somewhat part of the show, because I'm on there every Wednesday. So we've been on it since November, I believe. So pretty much this entire season, I've been just every Wednesday I'm on the show, except one Wednesday when I was on the cruise. That was probably the only exception. But that's my dealings with that. I was also kind of helping when Kenny may have been out. I was like a co-producer as well. So being heavily involved with Sain since he started the show last May, or since when I was first came on as a guest on his third episode last May.
Yep, no doubt. And so the other thing that you're doing as well is you're going to the games and getting the behind the scenes and getting into the locker room a little bit and getting a lot of the reactions, the instant reactions from the guys. With that, is that new to you just overall?
With the Grizzlies, yes. Okay. And really specifically the locker room, yes. But back in 2018, Penny Hardaway's first year, I covered the Memphis Tigers by iHeartMedia. on just podcasting and going to the games, press conferences, media availabilities. But in those, we didn't go to the locker room. It was more just the press conference. Penny came in, a couple of players.
Okay.
Before the season started, I did get to talk like the big, really the big hoopla with. I got to talk to Alex Lomax, Tyler Harris that year and stuff throughout this season. But really actually going inside the locker room and specifically with the Grizzlies, this was my first year being able to cover them and actually go into the locker room and talk to the players.
I like it. All right, last question about you. Favorite or worst thing about just the season and that part of not the actual season, like the games. Obviously, we suck this year, and it does suck. But that part of it, what's been either the coolest or the worst part that might be kind of revealing to you or whatever? But what is there any insight on that?
So the best part, kind of just the positivity of the players.
Okay.
Nice. Of course, Gigi and Vince, seeing their growth, but that's the positivity of the players. You really ain't really gotten like bad attitudes or anything about that. They kind of, it is what it is. It's kind of like, all right, this season is what it is. We getting hurt up and down. It's tough to go through it, but they figuring it out. So I think that's the best part, just really just the positivity with it. The worst part is just, like you said, obviously the losing. And just kind of like, not necessarily being around the team and the games, but Twitter, the fans.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Every single game, just like, all right, yeah, the season is what it is. What are we complaining about now? Like, come on.
I like it. As Wayne says, you're looking like Eric Gordon with the hair.
Yeah, went to the pop shot today.
Man, got straightened up. Man, look at that. Looking good. All right, let's get to the game. The Grizzlies do win 111-101. It was a great game overall. You hit on a lot of the players that we talked about, but also, a lot of the guys who kind of stepped up. I do have somebody on this team that played tonight is the actual answer of Grizz trivia tonight. So make sure you put that in the back of your mind. But tonight, let's go ahead and get into it. Gigi Jackson, like you talked about earlier, one of the big, plays down the stretch, but he had 15 points, 12 rebounds, had an assist. I think last game, I believe he had 4 assists, which was a high point into his season. Back to normal with the 1 assist. He doesn't pass it much. But 2 of 6 from deep. Trey Jemison was a late add into the starting lineup for Santi Aldama, had a foot issue. But 7 points, 4 rebounds. I don't love the 4 rebounds, but I know that obviously Brook Lopez kind of stretches you out a little bit and brings you out to the short corner. Luke Kennard didn't have it tonight. He also didn't shoot. That's normally what Luke does. If he doesn't feel comfortable, he just doesn't pull the trigger. And I don't understand why. 3 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Scottie Pippen Jr., 6 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. So honestly, it was really Gigi and Jaren that kind of carried the starters. And let me go through the bench before we kind of circle our way back to Jaren. But Lamar Stevens, a double-double. 11 points, 10 rebounds. Jordan Goodwin, 11 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, almost on triple-double watch. Brandon Clark, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. And then our guy, Jaren Jackson Jr., 35 points, 3 rebounds, which is disappointing, but 4 assists, 2 of 7 from deep. The Grizzlies overall shot 7 of 23 for 30.4%, which is disgusting. But overall, on any of those stats that kind of interest you or that kind of stuck out to you?
Not really, like I said, Jaren. I've come to the conclusion. So a couple of years ago, when I had to start a 5 podcast or Grizzly Bear Blues, we took a lot of flack for getting on Jaren about rebounding. I've just come to the conclusion I'm not worried about him rebounding more. Right? He's just not a rebounder, right? And it goes back, and we're going to talk about the Mark documentary later. His rebounds were a little lower than we wanted it to be, right? It just is what it is. He's not a rebounder, but he does. Let's focus on things he does well, right? And 3 rebounds is like, you look at it like, he had 35 points for 3 rebounds. Like, but hey, he had 35 points. So hey, that's my biggest takeaway. Like, let's stop being worried about the rebounds. He just ain't.
Yeah, and I think that's what you kind of have to be. I guess you have to settle in and say, hey, you know what? Honestly, it is what it is. Like, he's not going to be a dominant rebounder. And at that point, you have to accept it and say, all right, if we're going to accept his offensive skills, but also his defensive skills, which he is very much top tier in both when he wants to be, you have to accept the flaws of a player, just like you would accept the flaws of a relationship, right? Can you accept it? Can you get married to that person because of their flaws? Are they too bad or too good? We're married to Jaren at this point. I feel like we need to just accept his flaws and move on. I know Goon the Shooter doesn't want to go there, but I promise you, I'm going to accept Jaren's flaws. Real quick from Goon the Shooter, though, he does have that 76 paint points for the Grizzlies, or 36 paint points for the Bucks, which is huge to me. It just shows that, last year, was a big discussion around Jaren becoming Defensive Player of the Year because Robin Lopez was obviously, is it Brooke Lopez? Yeah, I'm sorry. One of the Lopez boys. Anyways, Brooke Lopez was one of the guys who was leading in the fact of possibly, give a running towards the end of the year to be the Defensive Player of the Year, but he did not look good, and he doesn't actually scare anybody ever. So it's mainly Giannis. When Giannis doesn't have it cooking, he just, it is what it is. But thoughts on the paint points, because the Grizzlies look like even though they shot bad, 7 of 23 overall, 23 3-pointers is not a lot for the Grizzlies.
Yes, thank God. Like this whole season, it's probably been the thing that's pissed us off the most. It's like they jacking. I see Milwaukee took 44 threes. That's normally the Grizzlies,
exactly
right? And it's like, why are we taking out these threes if we can't shoot? Like, let's get back to our paint points. Let's get back to dominating the paint. That's been this season. They really have gotten to just like really too shot happy. I know a lot of that is Ja Morant. Ja Morant drives to the hole a lot. He led. I think he was tops in paint points, like along with Giannis. So that was definitely a big deal throughout the season. But still, you see tonight this group that they had, and they attacked the paint, just attacked the paint.
Yep. As King Meek said, Gigi did have 12 rebounds. A great game out of him. If you look at these stats, like, it's incredible. Looking at 3 players, Gigi Jackson, Lamar Stevens, and Jordan Goodwin, all with double-doubles. I'd almost go to say I don't think any one of them was available to play in a sports book if you're a betting person, because normally they don't put these guys up because it had to be plus 1,000 or plus 1,400, plus 1,500. And they usually don't do that because there's probably no reason to. But the fact that you get 3 double-doubles out of guys who Vegas says is probably not even possible, like, that just shows you that this team is cooking a little bit, and they're showing that they have some depth that's coming up. And so, listen, it's thrilling to me. All right, before we go too far, I do want to say, we've had some people in here already in the chat. Thank you all, as always. If you want to get in here, just like Austin has, hashtag shark, that's fine. Whatever, at PShark, at Parrish, whatever you want to put in here, just make sure it is in the very beginning so I can see it, because we do want to ask Parrish before, the show ends, so kind of running through a little bit of the questions that you all have. And we want to pick your brain just like we do every single guest. So for some reason, if you do have a question for Parrish, just put in hashtag or at shark, at whatever. Just, hey, idiot, look here, as I always say, whatever. Just make sure I can see it. Besides just something from Puff Daddy that says, "Sup, y'all." Puff. Bro, man, people are looking for you, I believe. I think. Bro, you need a pass. Get out of here. Puff, pass. All right. Jake plus 19 from Allen. Is that right? Thoughts on Jake? He's played well after he's come back from all this. Okay, a lot of people were plus 19. Well, Trey Jemison, Luke, Scottie Pippen were not. The only 3 guys that were not plus. But
minus 19.
Yeah, Trey didn't look great. Thoughts on Jake LaRavia plus 19, 9 points tonight. Had a total of 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Thoughts on Jake?
Yeah, he's been effective lately. I think it's just one of them things, like he has been hurt a lot, right? And it's just like finally he's healthy and finally getting opportunities. Like every time when he wasn't hurt, he was part of a team that's contending. Or the beginning of the season, where even the beginning of the season, we was thinking the team was trying to contend, right? So he's always been in. It's like he was drafted. He really need to be developed, but he got drafted on a contending team, and contending teams got time for developments. We need players to come in that's ready to play right then and there. So it just took time. He had to really just get developed, right? I still don't think going forward he's part of the future or the rotation team going forward, of course, but maybe the trade stock, maybe we can get some pieces for him, right? Maybe we can actually trade him now. Trade deadline we couldn't, so maybe we can trade him this time, or maybe he could be a back end, 14, 15 man and actually produce when it's time when somebody gets hurt. Maybe we can depend on him. But
I like it. Yeah, as Marco said, good energy from Jake. Hey, when he comes out, it looks like kind of a spark plug a little bit, and I never would have thought that because those spark plug kind of foot shuffles that he has are really slow, but when he gets out there, he's actually doing something, and he's creating a little bit of energy. I like it. Nate is trying to pick a fight with Goon. Jaren, best power forward in the league. Goon. Goon answers back. Don't worry. All right, let's get some of these questions. I'm going to ask you to end this segment. We're not there yet, but to end the segment, start thinking about it. I want to ask your opinion on what the Grizzlies should do moving forward, because obviously you have the draft coming up. The season's a wash, and the direction that you would go with this team, whether it is, if you want to discuss any kind of, free agents that you're looking at, whatever, but kind of think in your mind, like maybe putting pieces together, guys that you would keep, guys you would send out. So we'll hit that right before the end. So if that is one of your questions, I apologize if you're in the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and ask that myself. But we'll get that before we hit on our first segment. But let's go ahead and hit the questions that we already have. Austin wants to know, is he crazy, or should we at least explore the possibility of using Bane as an asset in a trade?
No. Yeah, dog. I was not expecting a question like that.
I didn't either. That's why I had to give it to you first.
Shooting is we still have a problem with enough shooters, and Bane is the best. Or if you want to say Lucas Bed, fine. We can't afford to get rid of our shooter and our second best scorer after Johnson.
Yeah. All right. So that's an easy one. I'm gonna keep rolling through these. Let's get to the next one. Wayne. Oh no, let me go to this one. Harold. He didn't put your name on it, but I think it's a good one to ask you. Thoughts on possibly sending out Luke Kennard in general? Okay, that's in general. One question. Second question, follow up on that is, do you like the addition of Zach Edey to this team if they were to somehow draft him? So both those questions.
So separated, saying trading Kennard.
I'm not trading Kennard to get Edey. I'm not doing that. Separate the question.
They better not draft Edey, period. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big Zach Edey fan. Now, I'm not like, I ain't gonna say like, I could see a scenario where he becomes somewhat of an effective NBA player, but it got to be a team that he can get touches with. And with the Grizzlies, it just ain't. He's a player. He's a legitimate post player, and the NBA is not tailored towards that. And he's not like a Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama. He's not that type of player. Versatile. And he really got more of an old school game. Like, he's coming in at the wrong time. That's really kind of unfortunate for him, but. Maybe he could be like, not for the Grizzlies, but maybe he can be like a bench guy that you could feature him off the bench, and maybe he can get touches coming off the bench. But I can't see him being part of like no true contender team and being effective right away because he needs touches.
Yeah. That was on Zach Edey, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Luke Kennard, your thoughts on having him for this team going forward, but also possibly trading him off of this team for maybe, a piece. No reason to mention the piece because whatever they're going to do, right? But moving off of him to bring back something.
Either or, it don't really matter. I think, like I said, he affects the team because he can shoot. And that's still our second out the center. Our next need is still shooting, right? And if you let him go, you still going to need more shooting. So I think Luke Kennard, to me, is definitely effective for the team going forward. Trading him also, I understand he has his contract. He would be expired as long as they opt in. He would be an expiring deal. So depending on you bring back, as long as you bring back a true 3-and-D player, sure. If you're trading for a center, you better make sure you get a shooter somewhere. Draft in a trade, like we still need shooting, so it's still gonna come down to we still need more shooting. But with Kennard, I know Zach Kleiman. I did go to his presser after the trade deadline. He sounded like Luke Kennard was part of their plan going forward, but information changes.
Yeah. As Alan says, trade that man. Let me get some insight to it real quick. And I forgot to put the score up. Last show, I literally said I was going to have it, all the time, and I forgot right away. What I'll say about Luke is Luke's shooting is special in a sense of, one, if he doesn't have to be the featured guy, he shoots more because usually he's open, right? And he's the guy who you kick it out to. And that's the type of player he is. Like you put him in the box, that's his box. Like he's not great defensively, but he's a guy that stretches the floor, but is also a guy who you can't ask much more out of it besides maybe a dribble or two, get to a short, corner, maybe get to the free throw line extended area. And, he'll knock down a shot other than a three-pointer, but you're not looking for more than that. But that's kind of okay when you have your best players, okay?
Exactly.
So all of that, just kind of putting him in that box, that's fine. The other thing is, if you were to somehow he doesn't, the Grizzlies opt in and grab, the 1-year deal, or let's say they decline the option and sign him to a 2-year deal, whatever. No matter those options, the Grizzlies, if they still have him on the team, it's a good thing. The reason is because let's say the Grizzlies are playing well and they need to add a piece because they just see something's not working, something's not clicking. You can always trade Luke Kennard. You can always trade a shooter at any point during the season. Okay. So just know that if that makes you feel better, whether you think it doesn't work or what, I think in the end, I think you have an asset and he is an asset. So that's what I'll sum up with Luke is I like Luke in a sense, but I also think he doesn't take enough shots. I think that when he gets the ball, he needs to have a quick trigger, and he does. He just sometimes doesn't feel it. I don't know if it's the flow of the game. I don't know if he's just unsure of himself, but that's the issue in a sense. All right, let's go ahead and get to a few more of these. Man, y'all are rolling it up. So y'all love Parrish over here. All right, let's keep getting to it. Wayne wants to ask a question. This is a personal question. What sparks your hoops or Grizz love?
They're moving to Memphis. And which is so a little thing about me. I grew up a Bulls fan. My whole family like Chicago Bulls fans, the Jordan era. When I grew up and started watching basketball, it was like Jordan's last year. So I really was a Bulls fan, even when they were bad. So I was kind of like a dual Bulls Grizzlies fan until Jimmy Butler became my favorite player, and they traded Jimmy Butler. And that's when it was like, okay, I'm straight Grizzlies now, Grizzlies fan, and I'm supporting Jimmy. So somewhat Miami Heat fan when like this year, okay, I'm going for Miami throughout the playoffs, of course, because the Grizzlies ain't playing. But when they play against each other, I'm Memphis. And even when I was a Chicago fan, I was still torn. It was like, I want whoever to win, whoever needs to win the most. That's who I want to win between the Bulls and the Grizzlies. So I was always kind of Memphian. They came to Memphis, just kind of, love the Grizzlies just for coming to Memphis.
Yep, I like it. All right, this is real quick. Titans fan? And King Mix, I'm disappointed. You can't even spell Titans. What's the Tidians? You like the Tidians? I knew you liked them Tidians.
Yep. Tighten up, man. Yep.
Hey, do you like the new coach?
I love it. I wanted offense. I was, a lot of people mad with Fire Frey, but I want him gone. I was tired of the old 1960s offense he was trying to run.
Obviously Sane is here as he normally is. So shout out to you, Sane. Let's go ahead and get to one more question before we kind of let you end on that other, and then we'll get to the Grizz trivia part of it. But this is the last one so far, and then we'll get to more after in the second segment. Okay, but Parrish, we have a very important question in the Black Ninja DJ, who I will say, shout out to you. You're always here. 1, 2, you ask in-depth questions, but also your knowledge of basketball is very high. I can see it through your questions in a sense, and through some of your comments. So shout out to you, Black Ninja DJ, as always. But keep 2 for next season only. That's it. Next season. That's all we're talking about. Lamar, Jake, Z, Conchar. Who are the 2?
Lamar, definitely off the top. The other one, call me crazy. I keep Conchar. To me, Conchar, he's literally the perfect back end. Both him and Lamar are perfect back end of the bench guys that can, like, John Conchar can start the point guard if you needed him to, right? He can play like positions 1 through 4. Lamar Stevens can play positions 3 through 5. Like, they're so versatile, and like they rarely really make mistakes. Like of course they're gonna make some general ones, but they really just come in and truly play their role. And those are guys like, if you have to rest a player of a game or two, or someone gets hurt, you can kind of plug and play those guys and not lose too much. You're not really gonna get the mistakes from them.
Yeah,
and that's why I kind of like enjoy about them. And contract wise, I think Jake and Z's contract goes up, so I think Z and Contract have the same. I think they both will be in the $6 million range next year. So I'd rather have a player that I know can kind of produce something or do something, because I know Contract will do like rebounds. He might not score, but he'll get you 10 rebounds if you need it. So I prefer that.
Yeah. And as Sane says, Lamar Char. If anybody doesn't remember, a long time ago, when I was kind of getting to know Sane, I kind of went into the show, and we always have a little bit of back and forth of, one, the fact that I'm white, and so I have to like John Conchar. That's just the thing that's known. I like John Conchar. I've always followed him, ever since the beginning of really just kind of covering the team. So I enjoy his game, his style of game. I don't think he's amazing. Anyway, and so I sent, I brought a shirt. It was a Grizz 901 shirt. On the back of it, I made it a Sane Char number 46, one of one. There's no other ones. And so, it was pretty awesome. And now,
keep
the shirt on. Keep it.
He was so mad about that.
Yeah, he's so mad. All right, let's ask the last question. And then if you have any more questions, kind of keep coming in, because I want to make sure that we do get some more questions over to Shark. Let's go ahead and ask the question about next season. What's your thoughts? What would you do? And just overall, go for it.
All right. So first up, you swipe for the lottery order. But I did say this on same show the other day. Of course, we more of a draft best player available. Okay. I don't know really what you could trade, like trading and pick. I was always like, I am team F them picks overall, but I don't know what you traded for, because I'm trying to think with the way the contract situation is, what team is offering something, because this draft is not the strongest draft.
No.
I think next year's draft, I'm hearing, is supposed to be really good. If this was next year, we'd be fine. But it's kind of tough, so we might just, and Norin and Sane always says he just feel like climbing. He gets high pick like that, he's using it. So I said we needed more shooting, right? If we don't like none of them centers, I know Donovan Cleveland starting to get some shine right now. Yeah, I like them too as well. I'm fine with taking Dalton Connect. We can't never have too many wings.
Okay.
You can never have too many wings, and I know he can shoot. Like I said, he's what they wanted Jake Rabbit to be. I know he can shoot, right? And I wouldn't mind if they take him, right? But also if they take Clingan, I wouldn't be mad. If they somehow get the first pick. Sorry, like you're right. So use the pick, just take best player available, or if they use a wing, Reed Shepard can shoot, right? Dillingham can shoot. Just like make sure you plug in one of those two, either shooting and big man. Also, rather they get a big man draft or not, get a veteran big man in free agency. Trey Jarman or Isaiah Hartenstein, somebody, because you're gonna need a big man rotation. Because I don't trust, and it's Santi Aldama, right? He could be up for trade. I don't trust him. Okay. And he's definitely, I see it, especially when we play the Lakers, he's unplayable against them. Like, that's just a terrible matchup for him. Yeah. Right. And it's just like, if we can't trust you when we need you the most, then you got to go. Outside of that, find a way to get rid of, if you can't get rid of both of them, get rid of either Jake LaRavia or Zaire. Both of them would be great. Find a way to get rid of both of them. Again, I'm assuming Yuta Watanabe is going to opt into his contract. If he do, cut him. I think it's only like a $2 million, $3 million hit. Get rid of him. Bring back Lamar Stevens.
Hey, on that Yuta real quick, not to interrupt, but so he put out something through a Japanese reporter or whatever. My thoughts are, and I've always said this, I think it would be best for him, is if he actually went overseas, whether it was Japan or what another league, it would probably help him personally, it sounds like, because I don't know if y'all have seen or heard anything about it, but it looked like he was coming back from injury. I think it was a wrist injury at one point, and he was on the, he was listed as out, and then he became either doubtful or questionable with that wrist injury, and then he never played, and then went out immediately, either that game or next game. He was on the injury report for personal reasons, and then ever since then he's been out for personal reasons or a wrist. Either or. I'm not sure if they change it up, if they just flip the coin and just decide which one it is. But I'll say that I think eventually he probably needs to $2 million. I'm not saying it's not a lot of money, but he could probably get at least $1 million, $1.5 million, maybe just to go back to maybe Japan. And honestly, he could probably get maybe 5 just to go back to Japan. So I think the smartest thing with him would be go back, in my opinion. But I do like your idea. If for some reason he does opt in, you cut him and then you move on from him. Just eat the $2 million, even though they do need the salary cap. Like they need not as much on there, but it is what it is. All right. Anything else that you have on that?
Nope, that's pretty much it. Like I said, if they can bring back Lamar, great. Get you a veteran big man. Even if you get a rookie big man, that's a great combo to have. Brandon Clark is looking great coming back, so you got the front court solidified in this scenario. And find a way. If you get the shooter in the draft, that's fine too. You got you another shooter, and then that does make Luke Kennard more expensive if that could happen. But you can never have too much shooting either. So
yeah, I like it. All right, real quick before we kind of move on, I want to say first, thank you all for kind of coming in here and hanging out. Streetcars of Memphis is our sponsor of the chat, so make sure if you have any kind of modification needs whatsoever, whether it is just from simple things like a oil change, or if you need them to kind of look under the hood at something that you have going on, go check out Streetcars of Memphis. From lift kits, wheels, and tires, they can modify them all. Use the code Grizz and I want to receive 55 regular oil change or a 65 for a full synthetic. There's huge savings taking place down at Streetcars of Memphis. It is in the heart of Memphis. I believe it's right off of Jackson. But go ahead and check them out online at 901scm.com, or you can call them at 901-323-3332. Schedule your oil change and maintenance or customization service today. We don't have a name just yet for all of you knuckleheads in the chat, but we're trying. I keep pushing Bluff City Brood. Your thoughts on that?
Bluff City Brood.
We're trying to think of a family, like some way to reference the chat. Bluff City Brood. Like, so if I wanted to say, hey, thank you, Brood, or whatever. Listen, that's not the favorite. We're just trying to figure out a name.
It's anything not the worst. Yeah, it's not the worst, but
not the worst.
It's like you could think of something.
Grizzly gangsters.
Grizzly gangsters. I know what. Hey, he acting like some gangsters.
What's your thoughts on the word gang or the word mafia and relate it to trying to name the chat? Like, do you like that, or is that bad connotations because it is Memphis? We're trying to get away from that.
Yeah, I can see that side too, but I don't know. You're right. Because the way Memphis you are trying to get that's the city.
We're trying to get past that of the gang of the mafia stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. You kind of need to. Yeah, we need to start doing better.
Yeah, we're trying to do better. All right, we're all trying to do better. Let's go ahead and be better. We'll take our first break. When we come back, we're going to make sure that we hit on Grizz trivia. We're going to ask some questions. I want to ask your opinion about the Marc Gasol doc. We're going to get into, obviously, all the questions that are filling up the chat right here. So kind of keep putting them in here. Hashtag Shark, hashtag Parrish, whatever you want to put in there. Also, while we have the commercial break, go hit the like button, you bunch of idiots.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. Right. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, and now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What's up, Grizz Nation? We are Grizz 901, your final stop after a Grizzlies game, the post-game show. I'm Daniel. That is Parrish Sharkey coming in here tonight as a kind of a guest host helping us out. We are going to be without Nate. He was obviously going to be on the show like normal tonight, but he did have something pop up with somebody kind of coming in town and wanted to kind of take the time and spend some time with them. And so obviously, Parrish is so generous to come on here and hang out with us. We have not done a show together. So it's also, it's awesome having you on here. But next show, we're going to have David. Is it Mick Williams or David Williams from, do you know David?
Yeah, David Williams.
Is it Mick Williams? No, it's just Williams. Okay.
Yeah.
David Williams from Sports Ethos Grizzlies.
Yep.
So he's going to be on here with me Friday. And then I believe it's the 9th. I don't have a schedule in front of me. The 9th is we're going to have Francis Carlotta. That is I think that's a Wednesday. And then the last one, I have not actually filled the last show just yet. So we're trying to get some different people as we finish up the season. And then I believe the 12th is one of the latest games, next to last game. I will not be here. And so Nate will have himself a guest on with him. And then the very last show, it will be Nate and I. It'll be a Sunday show. And I have 2 special guests that will be coming on the show with me. And they are probably going to be our cutest guests of the year. It's going to be my daughter. So they're going to come on with me. They want to do a show. We have not done a show at all this year with them, and we normally do. And so I want to have them on. They actually asked me tonight. So we'll make sure we have them on for sure. But you know what else is cute? Parrish, it's having a great lawn. If you need a good lawn, if you need to look good, have the best lawn, the best yard. If you want to win Yard of the Month, you need to call Pews. Pews Residential Spray is doing big things in Memphis. They're now in the residential game. Make sure you go ahead and call them. They can take care of all of your weed control and fertilization needs. If you want to create that perfect weed-free lawn, then call Pews Residential Spray today for a free estimate, 901-632-2118. Let them know the Grizz 901 crew sent you. And remember, Pews, you get big company strength, small company values. All right, let's get into Grizz trivia. I think it's going to play for a second. That's broken. All right. Nathan is terrible at this. I hope you're Bettis. I cannot talk tonight. Better.
Hey, I won a couple months ago.
Is that? Oh, yeah, you did. I forgot about
in
that.
the chat. Yep.
I love it. All right, let's get into some Grizz trivia. So, we're going to go with a minimum of just 10 games because there's been a lot of players that have actually played this year, at least 10 games. The Grizzlies have obviously had the most players ever play, and it's been 31 this season. And so let's just go with a minimum games played of 10. Parrish, who actually has the highest rebound average on the team? And chat, if you know this, feel free to answer. Hopefully, Parrish won't cheat. I won't tell him if anybody gets it right.
Watch it be somebody like Santi Aldama. That's my guess.
Are you going with Santi Aldama as your first guess?
Yes.
All right. Well, I will also ask, who are the top 5? One guy is not on the team anymore, and that is Bismack Biyombo.
I know who that is, yeah.
But there are 4 others. One of the guys who is a guy that we're going to talk about very shortly, and that is going to be Brandon Clark. He has not played 10 games yet, but he's played 4. In his 4 games, he's averaging 5.8 rebounds, and he is 4th overall. Second overall is 6.4. Second is 6.4. Bismack Biyombo. He obviously played 10 plus. I have not told you who is the top 5 or the first overall. Santi Aldama is 3rd. Santi has 5.8. So I've given you 3 of the 5. If you were to try to figure out the last 2, it is not Santi Aldama. He is 3rd. The 1st and the 5th, and let me just spoil it a little bit. Ja Morant is 6th, but he didn't play.
Yeah, he didn't play. He was 9. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Hey,
2 guys.
I want to throw. I'm gonna guess Vince Williams.
Vince Williams Jr. is on that, and he is fifth. You
Fifth.
still have not got the first.
First. Who could be first on this team?
If you'd like to know where Jaren Jackson Jr. is, he has 5.5 on the season.
I saw this the other day. No, it wasn't him.
Some people have suggested Lamar Stevens. Lamar Stevens has a lot of games where he does not rebound, but he is a very good rebounder. Tonight, he did a very good job. 4.8 on the season.
I guess it's only either I'm left with Bane or Gigi.
There's one guy you're missing. It's just right in your face. It should be right in your face tonight.
It's either Bane or Gigi. I'm gonna go with Gigi.
G.G. Jackson is 16th with 4. We have had some people get this so far, and it has been, as I kind of propped him up earlier, Black Ninja GJ has hit on it. Somebody else, King Meeks as well, the same answer. And Smooth Southpaw, he's always very knowledgeable, answered it. They've all answered it. The number one player for the Grizzlies, he's not a big. He's actually a small.
Jordan Goodwin.
He has the most rebounds on the team.
He do rebound the J.
0.8 rebounds on this team. Does that shocks me?
A player that might not be on the team next year.
That's kind of why I want to bring that, is because he literally might not even be on the team. He's on a two-way, correct? But he's I'm pretty sure. So yeah, they still have him on two-way, but he's not signed for next year at all. Only Scottie Pippen Jr. and Trey Jemison. Yeah, so those two are on the two-way. He is on a two-way right now, but he is not actually set up for next year. So that just shows me, if you looked at the first two, it makes me laugh. Jordan Goodwin is first. Bismack Biyombo is second. And then you had a guy who you literally said, I'm cool with trading, is Santi Aldama, and he is third at 5.8. It's laughable. It's also, as Austin said, it's sad. But it just goes to show, like, there has to be rebounding as a focus this year, whether it's in the offseason, whenever they're planning on doing it, it has to be that. So thoughts on that? Does that blow your mind?
Yeah, definitely. And what's crazy is I know Goodwin be rebounding, but
not at that level.
Right. You might have thought he would lead the team.
Yeah. He's only had 12. He's 12 games. And so I want to make it 10. So it wasn't so obvious if I said 12. But yeah, he's pretty good. So I have another one. You know what? I'll say this one for Nate. I'm curious about a question because I haven't even dug into it to find out the actual stats. But there's something with just the games overall that I want to ask about how they affect the games just themselves. So we're going to ask that next time, me and Nate. Maybe I'll say that one for the very last game of the year because it'll actually be the perfect stat for that. All right, let's get into two things. First, I want to ask about your thoughts on Brandon Clark because he's not obviously came back here and he's looking great. And then we're going to follow it up with the Marc Gasol doc. But rebounding, we've needed it. And obviously Brandon Clark has come back and he's been very, crucial to this team. The short jumpers are there and everything. But just a little bit about Brandon Clark on your thoughts on him overall.
Man, he's looked good. I finally got a chance. When players are hurt, you don't get a chance to talk to him, ask him questions at all. So finally got a chance to meet him and talk to him after his first game back against the Lakers. He was very, very good spirits. Glad to be back. Of course, glad to be back. I remember Zach Kleiman was mentioning he might make a cameo appearance. He's making a little bit more than a cameo appearance.
Right.
He might make it to 10 games, maybe. Right. Yes, he might make it. So he's been doing he's really looked good. The main thing was, like, to me, mental, right? Getting past the mental part. And he seems to he's jumping like he normally would. He did mention when we did talk to him after his first game, he did say, with that type of injury, he understands. He has no doubt that he's going to get back to his previous elite athleticism, but he also knows it's probably going to take. He said it only takes about 2 years for you're back all the way, and he said that himself. So he was like, "I know I'm not going to be fully back to where I was to probably this time next year, but he feels really good, and you see it. He looks confident. He's still jumping. And one time, I know as fans, and I did it today. He had like one jump. He hit the layup, had the foul, and one and fell down. And he just kind of stood there for a second, like, oh, nah. And he got up, kind of like he was limping a little bit. I was like, oh, nah. But he got up, looked well. And I think the main mental aspect for him is he tore his Achilles at the free throw line where he missed the free throw, then tried to run up. And I've been leery on like how he shoots free throws, where he try and attempt to try and jump and get the rebound after miss free throw anymore, because that's actually how he tore it. But I never really doubted that he'll probably get back to some form of himself. And seeing him back, his form looks like his rookie year. And I would never forget that play-in game against Portland. He hit 5 threes in that game. And after that, his three-point shooting just been, he had the little hitch in his shot coming back his sophomore year. I was like, what happened? I saw him shooting threes his rookie year. So seeing him hit the 3 the other night and seeing his form look back to his rookie year form, it's like, okay, he's been working on it.
No, BC has been amazing. And as Wayne says, there's been nothing worse this season than watching, get those chippy putbacks. BC has kind of eliminated, some of those second chance points. And that's crucial. You're talking about kind of you play good defense for, let's say, 22 or so seconds of the 24-second shot clock. And you're just, you're dead and you're playing, really good on a string defense. And then all of a sudden the ball comes off and it's just like just an easy putback. It's deflating as a team defensively. And so it has been helpful, but also his offense is little, in the lane, just kind of a little midi, man. It's so good. And his energy, as Black New DJ saying, is, the energy and rebounding, it has been great. That hitch, my God, that's disgusting. Like when you see that hitch, you're like, please just whoever did that to you, like death.
Because his form was fine his rookie year. I was like, what happened? Also, going back to the first night he came back, Gigi, we asked Gigi about playing with him, right? And he was like, he played 2K, and he thought he was slow because 2K the guy is rated slow. He had got a chance to play with him. He's like, oh, he was faster than I thought. So.
Dude, Gigi is a national treasure. That kid just is special. All right, let's get to the Marc Gasol doc, because everybody loves the midi from BC for sure, but everybody also loves the Marc Gasol documentary, and it has been awesome. I finally watched all of it, so I can finally speak on all of it. But just overall, just kind of on the surface, is there anything that you just loved, hated, or brought back memories? Just give me your thoughts on it.
Ooh, great documentary. A lot to unpack.
Yep.
We learned some things we didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we all knew Chris Wallace was trash, but knowing that Pau Gasol didn't really demand a trade, he just wanted to play with his brother. He even offered to take part of his salary.
He did.
Then you'd say, hey, I'm convinced y'all Mark is good. He come in and have a good rookie year, but then you contradict yourself and draft a sheet to beat. But you believe him, right? Like, and, that stuff won't add it up. But hey, that was Chris Wallace era. It is what it is. We're past it. But as Mark himself, man, it kind of reminded you like he was legit. May have been arguably the best center in the NBA at one point, maybe a year or two. That he won Defensive Player of the Year. He started an All-Star game against his brother. And just great memories. We knew he was moody. Right. We also knew, he got what's the Dave? Not Dave. Yeah, Dave Fisdale. It was Dave Fisdale. Yeah, he got him fired. Things like that. It showed we kind of understood. We always knew Mark was high basketball IQ, and he'd get frustrated playing with other players who wasn't high basketball IQ players like Ben McLemore, right? When he brought all that team, Jeff Max and all of them. So you kind of see like, man, he come from a contending team. Then I gotta deal with young guys. But he kind of finally developed, and finally when Jaren came, he finally kind of bought into it a little bit and started to mentor him a little bit, help Dylan Brooks out. So it was very good just to see like he grew up in Memphis, right? So well, not grew up in Memphis, but he'd been here since as a teenager, right? Came over as a teenager. So he literally is like a son of the city and played for the city. He really wanted to win a ring bad for the city. Even imagined them winning and being around a whole block party. Then getting Gritty Grime imprint inside his actual championship ring. Yep. So it was awesome. And another thing I took from him, I said on the same show yesterday, it feels like, so he chose Mike Conley over Kyle Lowry, right? He also ended up winning a championship with Kyle Lowry.
Exactly.
So that was a funny tidbit. And I kind of feel like, not saying he got Rudy Gay up out of here, but it kind of feel like he had something to do with it.
Yeah.
When he was talking about selfish players and stuff.
Yep.
It felt like that.
I feel like he had a big voice in what happened, like a lot of times, and moves being made. And obviously Gasol was like that because he was he was a superstar that we all knew, but he also did not fit the city. He didn't fit the team that was being put around him. You know, a lot of those front office back in the day, like that, they were not ran very well. So
Yeah.
I understand his frustration and everything. But that trade was probably one of the worst trades ever. Even though it did bring back Marc Gasol, the fact that we literally could have had Marc Gasol, the problem is I don't know if he would have been good enough in time for Powell to leave.
Right.
I'm sorry, for Powell would have had to have left before then. Yeah. So there's no way they could have played together. I don't think. I think it would have taken some time, but yeah. Either way, I love the doc because it did give us a different side of Mark. It showed us a little bit of him and his authenticity. And I don't think you got that in the years. Like you said, he was moody. Like we all took it as he was moody, but not like in a good way, like as an emotional, like he was an emotional leader and he was the heart and soul of the team. I don't think we took it that way. I just think sometimes he was just a moody guy. And I think now you look back on it and he was kind of the guy who everybody went back to and saw like the fire of wanting to win. It's pretty awesome. But which one did you like better, the Zebo doc or the Mark doc?
I would say, and both of them were great. I would say Mark, and it's kind of like, I guess it's recent. Like, I guess I need to go back and look at Zebo's. It's been a year, right? So I'd imagine I'm probably going to say Mark because it's the most recent, but I'd probably say him more so because of the whole, you had him come in Memphis as a teenager. So you had the whole background about him and Powell, and you got to talk about the Grizzlies even before him. Otherwise, Zebo was kind of like, once he started here, from what I remember. So
yeah, I agree, and I remember that Zebo doc, and it was awesome, and it kind of gave you those like grit grind feelings, and it was like, but like I think we knew all that about Zebo. Like I really do think that we knew that. I wouldn't say the entire story, but Zebo was very much this guy this way. We knew the kind of player he was. We knew the things he did in that community because he was out front a little bit. I don't think we knew the Marc Gasol story, and I think that's why it's so good. It's because we didn't know it, and so I think that it opened another door for us to see. So, I thought it was pretty cool. All right, let's move off of this and let's kind of go back to Ask the Shark real quick. If you got any questions in, we're gonna roll through these, and then we're gonna end the show on this. And hopefully you're good on time.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Good.
All right, let's go through these. If you got any more questions, please ask them now, but I'm going to try to roll through these as much as possible. Parrish, did the starting five retire? And he's not talking about the Grizzlies starting five.
I know you're talking about podcast. Yes, the starting five show retired, but we still have Let's Be Real. The guys, I'm actually off as of now, but probably when the season end, I'll come back in here and there on Let's Be Real Sports Podcast. So we're on YouTube at Let's Be Real Media. So we still have that. We had that before starting five, and we still have it out to starting five. So
what's your I guess what's your social media stuff? I'm guessing Twitter. What's your Twitter handle in case anybody wants to follow you there?
Yeah, for sure. DaOne DAONE_P Shark. That's my Twitter. Everything I post is on there. You'll see me post about LBR. Also, we have merch coming out soon, pretty much in the next couple of days. So I'll be promoting it. So yep. Follow me on Twitter at DaOne DAONE_P Shark.
Sweet. All right, let's keep moving. What are your thoughts of Zaire? And I haven't seen these questions. I've only started them. So can't say anything bad because YouTube going to censor me. All right, so a little bit of backstory. King Meeks wants to have a wrestling match against Zaire. Loser leaves town. So that's the background on King Meeks' love or hate of Zaire. But what's your thoughts on Zaire?
Hey, hopefully he built up some trade stock for him to be out. But, I kind of got to be careful, too, since I see the players in the locker room and stuff like that, of course, just about that. But Zaire, I would say it felt like more of a confidence thing. I don't know what happened between his rookie year. I guess the injuries, maybe, because the sophomore year was injury riddled. But then coming into this season, we was hoping, and he showed something. He said he felt the best in training camp. Looked pretty good in the preseason. And season started. He just want to build for the moment. So I'm not saying he doesn't have an NBA career, but I think his time in Memphis is up.
Wow. A little bit on kind of criticism or constructive criticism, whatever you want to say, like, critiquing players. I received some advice, and me and Nate, but also, everybody at BCM, we try to live by this, but I think we do a good job. Parrish, I know you do a good job as well. But I heard something that says, always in the back of your mind, make sure it comes off that you want the best for this team.
Yeah.
And I think when you make comments like that, like you say, I have to be careful because I see these guys. But in the end of the day, you want the best for this team. I want, Nate wants,
Right.
Anybody that's usually on this show wants the best for the city of Memphis. They wants the best for the Grizzlies in general. And that is, when you give a critique or criticism, that is where it's coming from. It's coming from the heart. And so, yes, like we do think that his time, has kind of come up on this team. We all kind of agree that it's not because he's not a good player. I think he's fine, but he's not going to develop in Memphis. They're too good at this point. He needs to go somewhere where he can develop. And if he is going to develop, it probably won't be here because he won't get the runway like he will. Let's say it wasn't like a Detroit. He might get a chance to really make some of those mistakes. And so, yes, I just wanted to clarify that because I got that advice and I thought that was great. And so I think anytime we criticize people or critique them, hopefully everybody understands how it comes out as we want the best. But all right, let's keep going. I have a few more left. How do you feel about Klingon? I know you talked about him a little bit before, but everybody's kind of warming up to him, and he's kind of the hot name for Grizz Twitter.
Yeah, looks good defensively off the top, defense and rebounding. You got it. He's switchable on defense, at least on the college level. NBA, we'll see how switchable he could be, but I'm not gonna say he's Steven Adams clone, but he looks pretty good in that regard. Now the screening, you probably gonna ever get a Steven Adams screener ever again. He's strongest dude in the NBA, so but Klingon's probably the closest you can get to him, like just in that form of he doesn't need a ball, and you need a player like that because you got Ja, you got Bane, you got Jaren, you got Gigi, Smart, Vince, Luke. You're gonna need somebody that just need to do all the dirty work.
Yeah. Speaking of Gigi, do they try to use Gigi as a primary playmaker for the summer league? We've seen this in the past for Bane. We also saw it for, I believe it was it Zaire at one point?
Zaire, yes.
But also Vince Williams was a little bit more a ball handler. And so there's obviously always that. So is it Jas Bell? Bell? Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. So thoughts on Gigi as primary playmaker for the summer?
I would probably say expect to see that. They have made comments. I know we asked like Derrick Rose back a while back about Gigi and his ball handling being developed, and they were just saying, "Hey, you got to do it, right?" And just saying, "Hey, sometimes he'll be telling like, man, get your scary ass out there, dribble the ball, bro." So they go. I'm pretty sure they're gonna try, utilize that part of his game because right now that's probably his true weakness: ball handling and setting others up for assists. So,
all right, I don't know who's putting these out there, but Bluff City Media, whoever's saying this,
right?
Jess Bell is definitely the best looking dude in the chat. Whoever is running it is pretty funny. But going back to the Klingon thing, Lightning DJ saying, his versatility on defense, foot quickness, touch around the basket has been obviously, very good. All right. Wayne Hunt. These are the last two questions we got. Keep in mind the amount of opportunity this season. Who's the most disappointing player on the roster? And I don't know a way you can frame that is you can say disappointment, but like somebody you had big expectations for that just did not just capture that.
It goes back to Zaire Williams.
Okay.
Pretty much. Because it's got to be between him and Jake in that sense. And he was the highest drafted between the two, right?
Yeah.
I can understand missing on Jake. Missing Zaire was big. You traded up for him. You could have had Trey Murphy potentially. Now you did get Steven Adams back in the deal for JV, and that kind of helped unlock Ja, of course. But ultimately, Steven Adams just got traded, right? So Zaire is still remaining. Trey Murphy is still in New Orleans, and you still need more shooting. That was it. You had to shooting. So Zaire has been the most disappointing. But I also can say, I think Zaire was more, and the Grizzlies try to develop players to what they want them to be in their scheme. But Zaire seemed like he's more of a mid-range guy, and the Grizzlies don't take mid-range shots at all. So
no, it has been very disappointing for sure with Zaire. It's also been with Jake. Jake's kind of given a little bit more as of later, but in the end of the day, I think Zaire has to be your answer there, unfortunately. But you know what else is not disappointing? That's Heaven's Healthy Kitchen, and that is a grassroots business that was started right here in Memphis. Chef Smith is always here in the chat, but he's also here promoting healthy eating and wellness. If you're also looking to cook at home, go ahead and get the cookbook right off of Amazon. You can download it today. Actually spoke with Chef Smith today, and so he told me a little bit more about the pop-up. So let me share with you the pop-up. All right, this has kind of changed a little bit, but it is April the 7th. It's going to start at noon, and it's going to go until for a couple hours. So make sure you get it in by the 10th. I'm sorry, by the 5th. April the 5th is the last time you can actually see. You have 2 days. Next show, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just make sure you all put in your orders. But the chicken savior sandwich with potato wedges is $13. Vegan oxtail plate, $15. Red beans and rice plate is $12. And then the alkaline lemonade with chlorophyll, $7. These are all plant-based. There's also peach cobbler, St. Lucian sea moss gel, gold. It says $25, 16 ounce. Anyway, pre-order by April the 5th. It's that easy. Nothing crazy. There's no, whatever I can tell you. Just go over to orderhhk.com. The next pop-up is on the 7th. You have to order it by the 5th, so make sure you pre-order it. But you can go check them out at orderhhk.com. You can see it all for yourself. But they've been serving and catering plant-based and vegan gourmet foods straight to you. I've tried it all. It is delicious. All right. So I see the chat. Where do you need to go to the pop-up? All right, pop-up, to answer your question, King Meeks, go to orderhhk.com. The actual place, I believe, it's a house. It's 2874 Seams Street. Isn't that right? Semmes. Seamus Street?
Seems. I always say Seems. So, yeah.
Seems, that's what I thought. The peach cobbler, though, bro, I'm telling you. Speaking of Heaven's Healthy Kitchen, he's always here. Listen, so shout out to you. But yes, if you're here, order by April 5th, especially for the sea moss. All right, last question. We'll get you out of here. This is about Taylor Jenkins. This has been obviously a topic of conversation with everybody. And so I want to end on this one. And as always, Black Ninja DJ is coming in here with a lot of hard-hitting questions. Really good coach, but the rotations obviously have been an issue. The defensive coverages kind of been concerning, even in a bad season, the Grizzlies are still rated very high in their defense. But just overall thoughts on Jenkins, maybe what you would expect next year, kind of just overall.
Yeah, I guess my thoughts, and he really hasn't changed anything on my thoughts of him. So when we had a starting five last year, I think I made a statement literally a year ago. I was like, he's not the coach when it's time for us to win the championship. Because my hope is he proves me wrong, of course. Like I want my team to succeed, of course.
Right.
So yeah, prove me wrong because he doesn't make adjustments when you need him to. He makes it late, like in the playoff series, for instance. He won't make a in-game adjustment. He'll make it a game later. Well, we're down 3-1. It's too late. My point, like we need right now. Like you need to try and win game 4 so we can get down 2-2. So it's just those things that he just, and it's like this season, he has injury. And I know I'm the type of guy that's like, sure, I don't believe in him to win a championship, but I also don't believe he should get fired right now. Like, you could get fired for this season.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like, come on now. So I understand that. And even like next year, I could say, okay, the team starts off struggling, maybe, but I think he probably do deserve a shot to try and figure it out because he's a really good regular season coach from what he showed us. It's more so the playoff time. And like you said, when we was talking about the offense where it's, spread out and shoot threes. And it's like, well, we ain't got the team to shoot.
Yeah.
Make some type of adjustment. Like the mid-range game didn't win where pump fake gets in the mid-range. Like let's do something a little different. But I'm not going to act like he's a bad coach. He's a good coach. He's not a great coach. And you might need a great coach to put you over the top.
Okay. Question on that. Speaking about Taylor Jenkins here is, I think the concept is fine. Like if you want to have the spread it out and shoot the 3-pointers, the reason you would do that is because of spacing, right? And so then what you have is you have somebody that can attack the front of the rim.
Yep.
You have that. You have probably one of the best guys who can, off the dribble, attack the front of the rim. So the concept is great. I think having guys that can stretch the floor, knock down 3-pointers, you now have had guys like Vince Williams, who has shown that he can actually make those. He's not as of recent, but also now he's injured. And so we don't know, maybe if that was, something. But when he was he's playing before he got that contract, and even after he got the contract, he was knocking down a lot of threes.
Yep.
GG Jackson. I was like, that's not right. GG Jackson has the short corner. It's the highest percent on the team. Like he knocks down the short corner three. You also have guys like Desmond Bain. You also have guys like Luke Kennard. But also Jaren has shot well. Santi has shot well when he's not actually a high usage player. So the concept makes complete sense. I want to see it when actually we have these other guys, these additions to this, because I think that the concept is great. I think in the offseason, they have to make sure they stabilize both the coaching philosophy on the offensive end with the front office moves. If they can kind of bring the synergy into it and kind of make it make sense, I think it's great. And he hasn't lost the locker room yet. And that's the biggest thing for me. If you don't lose the locker room, you're doing something right. And so I just like you, I think next year you easily get through the year, get through the playoffs. And at that point, you might have kind of moved on from him if the moves are not coming so fast. But overall, I think Taylor Jenkins has been a good coach, and I think he's been a great regular season coach for sure.
Yep.
Sure. Right. Anything else that you have that you want to hit on before we get out here? We're obviously over our time, way over, but everybody has the questions. I want to make sure we got them to you. So anything else you have?
No, man. Appreciate you having me on. Great questions. I've enjoyed covering the actual going to the games and being media covering the team this season. So looking forward to next year covering a winning team.
And that's the great thing is this year has been so great. Obviously with Bluff City Media just in general, but obviously with Grizz 901, that it's crazy that we've had a great season and, really just, growing the brand overall, whether it's us or, Bluff City Media. The fact that it's been such a terrible season and we're still growing the brand, next year is going to be exciting for sure. So I'm excited. I hope all of you will make sure you're always here with us. We'll make sure we have David Williams will be here Friday night. He is a guy who digs and digs and digs into the draft. I promise you.
Perfect. Bring
any draft questions. He will have a lot on it. You can go, we always try to promote everybody. So make sure you do go listen to Parrish on, I guess today's episode. Today's Wednesday. Yep. So today's episode you're on with Anthony Sane. It came out. So you can go tap that up if you want to make sure you want to still get some more Grizzly stuff before we get out of here. But that's all we have. Tonight's been great. Parrish, can't thank you enough for kind of coming on. We'll have to do this again maybe next year when we don't suck so bad.
Yep. Could pull up after the game.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's all we got. Make sure you're on the way out, hit the like button, share, rate, review, whatever you got to do. Always support us. We support you all as always, but that's all we got. Be nice and tell your friends.